look at part B of the Prolog programming example question. Part B states that the recruitment agency receives this new request below, seeking a person to lead a team of high-level language programmers in a new development. Now, Rule 18, which was suitable for the job, isn't going to cover what the elements of this new rule has got to be. We've got to come up with a new rule, which is going to be clause number 19. Now, the rule is going to be something that one person may lead another person if X has more years of experience than Y. So, for example, does Cynthia have more years of experience than Moira? But they've both got to program in the same high-level language. Right? And the rule we've got to call, we can't change the name of this rule, we've got to stick with this. The example would have given us can lead X, Y. So we've got to work out a rule and then test whether or not the rule works. So here we go. This is my thinking to answer this question. First off, a person may lead another person if they've got more years of experience. So I need to find out the years of experience of two different people. So what I'm going to do is, with this rule, I'm going to go if, and then I'll put years of programming X, N. And N is going to be one of my variables that's going to store a value of the years of programming of the first person. Okay. But I need to do it for another person, so I'm going to put and. Now look at the way I'm laying this out, nice and neatly. Years of programming. But this time I'm going to pick the other person. I'm not going to do, I've done the X, I'm going to do the Y. So I'm going to get Y, and I need a different variable this time, so I'm going to use the letter M. Okay. And what I'm interested in, so another bit of logic here, and now let's think back to what that rule said at the beginning, that they've got to have more experience. You know, X has got to have more experience than Y. Okay? So, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that this variable here, N, the first person, has got to have a greater value than M, the second person. So I'm going to put N is got to be greater than M. And that will cover that bit. But also, look back here, they've got to program in the same high-level language. So, same high-level language, let's do this. Let's go and can program in, and let's find out what X can program in. So X can program in, well, let's get this the right way around. Let's use a variable, say A, and then X, right? Because remember, the rule can program in has the variable, the programming language first, and then the name. All right, just highlight it there. And I know what X is, and I know what Y is, so I'm after the actual programming name. So let's try this. So I'm going to use A for the first high-level language, and then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say can program in. Now this is a little bit clever. Just think carefully about this one. I'm going to put the letter A there again, but this time I'm going to look at what Y is going to be able to program in. And if I use the same variable, what the declarative program language is going to do, what Prolog will do is it will think, right, okay, those two have got to be the same. Okay, so two different people, but that will make sure the match between the high-level language programs is the same. Okay. But crucially, that's got to be a high-level language. So I need one more element to my rule. So I put and then I'm going to do this. Is a high level language A? And if that's true, then I'll stop. Now what I've got to do here is I've got to test this out, because I think I've got my rule. So let's test that out. Let's see, can Moira lead Charles? Okay. Now I'm going to do this in green, because I'm running out of space here. So look out for the green bits for this answer. Can Moira lead Charles? In other words, Moira has a value of X and Charles is the Y variable. So years of programming for Moira is 5. So X is going to be 5 there. And years of programming for Charles is 2. So the M is going to be 2. It's not N is going to be 5. X will be 5. It's N's 5. And M is 2. Now, is N 5 greater than 2? Well, that's true. So I'm okay there. So far, Moira can lead Charles. Let's see what they can program in. Let's see if we take Moira. Moira can program in Prolog. And that's all I've got. That's all I can see. So, I've got Prolog. So Moira can program in Prolog. Now what can Y program in? Well, Y is Charles. Charles can program in 2 languages. One is assembler and one is Prolog. Okay, but you can see where I'm going with this. We know that assembler is not a high-level language program. So Charles also does Prolog, and is a high-level language Prolog will be true. Alright. So, can Moira lead Charles? The answer is going to be yes, as long as it's Prolog. Let's do another test. Can Derek lead Charles? Right, so I'll do my answers in blue this time. So Derek is my value of X and Charles is my value of Y. Okay, Derek can, looking at this line here, in terms of years of programming, he's got 16 years of programming. So the value of N is going to be 16. And Charles, same person as last time, that's going to be 2. And is 16 greater than 2? Well, yeah, that's true. So far, Derek can lead Charles. So what can they program in? Well, Derek can program in assembler, Comol, and Prolog. So assembler, Comol, and Prolog. Charles, we already know what he can do. He can do Prolog and assembler. But assembler is not a high-level language. We know that Prolog is a high-level language. So, Prolog's okay. Prolog comes through here too. And they are the same language. So, can Derek lead Charles? Again, the answer is yes, as long as it's Prolog. So that finishes the example. Looks quite involved, quite heavy in terms of the working out, but if you think through it logically, you will be able to do these questions. Okay, so make sure you do a good job of the exercise worksheet, and make sure you show you're working out your thinking clearly, and get some help where you need it.